This video is sponsored by .deck.co.uk, the place to be when it comes to all the stuff you need for the Pokemon trading card game. They have singles, complete competitive decks, and even some epic sleeves and deck boxes to pimp out your deck completely. So if there's still something you miss in order to go to a certain tournament or league, go take a look at .deck.co.uk.
My Darkrai and Tornadus gonna make a new deck, yeah, it sounds crazy. And I welcome you to Dark Patch with Dark Cloud, I'm ready for the match. Every place, everywhere we go, Darkrai is taking over this show. Nice bear is the attack you'll hear, so you might as well crumble in fear. Triple Dark Patch when I begin my move. After using Smeargle and a Juniper, speed is getting improved. You could use that Sky Arrow Bridge and they'll all say, what the heck is this? Don't get a Dynamo, you can't miss. I'll use Blow True and oh, you're kind of in trouble, aren't you? You'd better be aware, EXs are too dominant, you can feel it in the air. People are shouting nice bear, this is Darkrai's here. Walls will be crawling with time, oh dear, what's the solution? This is a revolution, Mewtwo EX, use attack for the execution. But nowadays, it has taken a step down, it won't be all around. You can even make a deck without any EX, Terrakion, yes, and it'll still work, since the weakness does kinda hurt. Although we have that Tornadus, Power Blast in your face, just making this deck a great success. Where's my Darkrai and Tornadus? Gonna make a new deck, yeah, it sounds crazy. And I welcome you to Dark Patch with Dark Cloud, I'm ready for the match. Every place, everywhere we go, Darkrai is taking over this show. Nice bear is the attack you'll hear, so you might as well crumble in fear.
What's up YouTube, it's ZapdosTCG here, and in this episode we'll be taking a closer look at a deck that has been winning the most at the moment, Darkrai EX, Tornadus EX. This deck is doing extremely well at every nationals and battle roads out there, and some people even consider it the best deck in our current format. But what actually is in this deck? We'll check it out right now. So as you probably knew already, Darkrai EX is the main card of this deck. It runs 3 copies of it just because it's such a good card. The only weakness is the fighting weakness, but yeah, aside to that, it's one of the most powerful cards in our current format. It can abuse Dark Patch and Dark Cloud and the Darkness energies just to attack on turn 1 or maybe turn 2 if you can manage to pull that off thanks to the Dark Patches. As you see, the deck runs 4 Dark Patches. I'll show 3 of them right now. You can just build up 1 Darkrai on the bench that way. As you see, it only needs 3 energies to attack for 90 damage and 30 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And with Dark Cloud, you can even boost that attack power to 110. So yeah, it also has an ability, Dark Cloak, which helps you retreat if you have a Darkness energy attached to one of your Pokemon, just to switch around for another attacker. And yeah, that's it for Darkrai EX, and there's also other Pokemon in this deck. Of course, we have Tornadus EX just to counter your weakness, Terrakions and Groudons. They are fighting Pokemon, and Tornadus EX does have that resistance to fighting, which helps you out a lot. Without Tornadus EX, this deck completely falls apart against Terrakion variants if you can manage to set up on turn 1 or something. So the deck runs on DCEs as well, 3 DCEs for Tornadus EX and Mewtwo EX, but I'll explain that in a second. And Sky Arrow Bridge is in this deck as well, just to retreat your Tornadus EX when you have to, when you don't have any Darkness energies, or when you want to use Smeargle, abuse that and just retreat Smeargle for free and just manage to dunk that way. Also, it powers up Tornadus EX's first attack, Blow True, and yeah, with Shaman you can just move around the energies. That's why he's in this deck as well. You can move the energies to Tornadus EX, or yeah, just Mewtwo EX as well. And Smeargle is also a main part of this deck to use 2 supporters in every move you can possibly think of. And yeah, Super Scoop Up is just there for you when you start with Shaman EX, or not Shaman, the regular Shaman with Celebration Wind, or when you want to heal off your damage. When you're lucky enough, Super Scoop Up will work. You also have Junk Arm in this deck to actually make sure that it works. And yeah, that's it for the main Pokemon of this deck. 2 Smeargles, 1 Shaman, 3 Darkrai EXs, 2 Tornadus EXs, and 1 Mewtwo EX. So as you see, this deck is incredibly expensive. So if you want to make this deck, you'd better have some good way to get these EXs, because this will be played a lot at Worlds and even the Nationals that are coming up soon at the US. So yeah, and here we have a better version of how the deck looks like with some better quality, since this is a picture and not a video. video. So yeah, it has 10 basic darkness energies just for Darkrai EX and Dark Patch and the stuff like that. And then 3 DCE. I know I want to run 4 DCE, but with so many loss removers / enhanced hammers in our current format, and the decks use it a lot, so that's why I only run 3 DCEs, since I don't want those DCEs going into the Lost Zone straight away. And yeah, Darkrai EX just uses the basic darkness energies, and the DCEs are just for Tornadus EX and Mewtwo EX. Mewtwo EX is in this deck just because it's so powerful. You just can't ignore Mewtwo EX when you're up against something like Zekrom Electric, and they use Mewtwo EX on you, and you can just attack with Darkrai EX if you want to, but when you want to knock out Mewtwo EX in one shot, you can just get out your own Mewtwo EX. With the help of Shaman, you can just get a bunch of energies on it right away, or you can just knock out another Darkrai EX when you happen to have a lot of energies into play. With Shaman, you can just get them all to Mewtwo EX, and you can manage to knock out Darkrai EX, so that's why Mewtwo EX is still powerful. Then we have 2 Smeargle. These are in it for the consistency. Portrait is just so powerful. When you use it on your first turn, you can just manage to use 2 supporters and on your first turn and just get that Darkrai out with 3 energies on something like that. And then Shaman, as I said, to move around the energies. So that's basically it. Tornadus EX is just in here for donking and to counter your fighting weakness, Terrakions and Groudons, or maybe even the new upcoming Terrakion EX, which will be in Dragon Exalted, the new set, which will be available on August 15 after Worlds. So yeah, that's it for the energies and the Pokemon in this deck. Let's go on to the supporters, items, and yeah, tool cards. So we start off with 4 Juniper. This is becoming a staple in every deck. Juniper, the fastest supporter out there. And then we also have 3 Professor Oak's New Theory, a great shuffle card, and then 2 N for when you're falling behind in prize cards. This deck usually doesn't fall behind in prize cards, since yeah, your Pokemon all have an amazing amount of HP and they don't get knocked out that fast. And yeah, then we have 3 random receivers. As you know, I'm a huge fan of random receivers since it helped me a lot at Nationals as well. I run 3 copies of it in this deck as well, just like in my Zekrom Electric deck. And then 4 Dark Patches. Just yeah, this is staple in the Darkrai deck. Just you need to have that Dark Patch or energy acceleration to your Darkrai's, otherwise the deck falls apart. Then you have 4 Junkrams to get back Dark Patches, and maybe Dual Balls, Catchers, Max Potion, or a Super Scoop Up, since this is also a part of this deck. Usually I'm not a fan of coin flip based item cards, but Super Scoop Up actually works amazingly well when you start with a Shaman, or when you want to heal off damage from your Darkrai's, Tornadus, or Mewtwo. So that's why it's in this deck. Max Potion is also a great part when you want to discard a bunch of darkness energies, and you can just use 3 Dark Patches after each other and just heal off a Darkrai's damage or something. Then we have 4 catchers. As you see, I have the golden catcher thanks to my booster box I won at Nationals. If you haven't watched that video, you should check it out. This is some promotion for that video, since it was awesome. The best Dark Explorers booster box ever. And yeah, I run 4 catchers just because you want to knock out Pokemon really fast in this game, and you just want to catch out Dynamos or the weak Sableye or something that's just weak and you can knock it out in one shot. Then we have Dual Balls just to get out Shaman, Smeargle, or your other attackers like we have Mewtwo EX, Tornadus EX, and then Darkrai, of course. But we also have an Ultra Ball line, so I split them up like 2 Dual Balls and 2 Ultra Balls, just because sometimes you don't actually want to discard cards from your hand, since it's such a good hand. And yeah, that's why I split them up, 2 Dual Balls and 2 Ultra Balls. Ultra Balls is just way more effective to get out your main attackers, or maybe that Shaman when you need to. And then we also run 2 switches and 2 Skyward Bridge in the right corner, just because yeah, you want to have that Smeargle on turn 1, you switch or something, then get that Skyward Bridge in play, use Portrait, and just get him out of the active spot right there, and you can use 2 supporters every turn and still manage to attack. So 2 switches and 2 Skyward Bridge just to help the consistency to get Smeargle out of the active spot. You could also give a Darkness Energy to your Smeargle, but I found out that Darkrai EX usually needs the manual attachment to himself to actually attack on the first turn. And then we have 2 Eviolite to yeah, just to prevent some damage. It reduces the damage by 20, and that's just great for Terrakion. Terrakion usually knocks out your Darkrai's in one shot, but with Eviolite they'll need a plus power in order to actually knock you out in one shot. So that's why Eviolite is in this deck. It also works incredibly well with Tornadus EX. That way the damage gets reduced by 40 against fighting matchups. And Mewtwo EX might enjoy this one as well if you're not up against a counter Mewtwo. So yeah, Dark Cloud is the last card of or the last 2 cards from this deck just to power up Darkrai's attack, Night Spear. It'll deal 110 damage that way. You can knock out some regular Tornadus cards, Thunderous cards, and yeah, it just helps to get that more damage when they have Eviolite on them. So that's why it's in this deck, and that's basically the main deck that I built with Darkrai EX and Tornadus EX. I know I saw some other versions like what was it, with Sableye in it and Crushing Hammers and yeah, the stuff like that, Loss Remover, sort of a disruption version of this deck. But I like to get an aggressive version of this deck, just get on turn 1, use 2 supporters thanks to Smeargle, and just overpower my opponent with a lot of damage thanks to Mewtwo EX, Tornadus EX, and Darkrai EX. And that's it for this week's deck analysis. I hope you enjoyed it, and now let's go on to Poke News. And I only have one thing on my list this time, and it's Japanese news as well. The 6 Japanese Black and White Sad Freeze Ball and Cold Flare has released some scans, like we have Darmanitan, which is actually quite interesting. It deals 60 damage with a second attack, and if he already has damage counters on him, it deals 120 damage instead for only a DCE and a Fire Energy. So you can abuse something like Rainbow Energy and a DCE in order to deal 120 damage on your second turn. So actually a nice card to check out. Then we have Venipede that deals, it actually doesn't deal a lot of damage, but his ability states Poison Point. For those of you that are familiar with the ability in the game, it states if you attack Venipede, your active Pokemon gets poisoned. So that's annoying. And then we have Heracross, nothing that special, Rattata as well, Azumarill, Scyther and Electabuzz, some Kanto Pokemon, that's nice, Croagunk and Skitty, and Girder. So all of those are actually that interesting. I only talked about the interesting ones, Venipede and Darmanitan, or Darmaxitan, whatever you want to call this guy. Some people gave it a nickname thanks to the other card we had, and which Sato was it again, Next Destiny. So yeah, aside to that, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button, because you know I always appreciate that. And if you have any questions, thoughts, or epic new ideas, then the comment section is your place to be. And for those of you that haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do it right now, and that way you'll stay updated for all my upcoming videos, including some footage of this year's World Championship. Anyway, this was ZapdosTCG. Thanks for watching, have a nice day, until next time.